Hi, and thank you for your comments. I believe there may be some misunderstanding going on when it comes to the great research going on in the country of South Africa as far as HIV cure trials. A cure trial is not the same as a cure. Therefore, the country of South Africa have not yet found a cure for HIV. What they have found is a certain way to suppress a bit longer without medication for a certain number of individuals, because when you're researching viruses, any type of virus, it may affect different individuals in totally different ways. So, for instance, right here, the Africa Health Research Institute put out the results of their research. And it says groundbreaking South African HIV cure trial shows promising results. They said HIV cure trial. Please do not stop here at HIV cure. It's a cure trial. So what that means is they're researching or they're trying to develop or investigating ways in which they can eliminate the HIV virus, not just manage the symptoms or treat the symptoms. Okay, a cure would mean that they have totally eradicated it. Okay, but they haven't. What they've successfully done is this: in 20% of participants, they were able to remain off antiretrovirals and are virally suppressed after 1.5 years. And so now I'll read the rest. In the study, the first HIV cure clinical trial in Africa, the researchers treated participants with antiretrovirals very soon after they acquired HIV. Once the virus was controlled by antiretrovirals, they administered powerful immune boosters, which helps the immune system fight the virus more effectively. Under close medical supervision, participants then stopped the antiretrovirals to see if their bodies could control the virus on their own. So now they're going to explain how many participants there were. 20 women were enrolled in the trial, a significant milestone because women are a group disproportionately affected by HIV, yet are often underrepresented in a cure related research. The trial results show that 30% of participants, which is 6 out of 20, were able to stay off HIV treatment for nearly a year, and 20% for participants remained off treatment until the trial ended at 55 weeks. Even after the trial, these 4 individuals who are still being closely monitored have continued without medication for an average of 1.5 years. The study went on to say this: while this treatment approach didn't work for most participants, it is still a significant development in HIV cure research. Studying how the 20% manage to control the virus on their own will help scientists develop better HIV cure strategies, as well as work out ways to improve future treatments. This is a quote from this professor and a director for basic and translational science at Africa Health Research Institute. So, all that saying, they have not yet reached a cure, but they did some phenomenal groundbreaking work on the path to working towards a cure. Now, the reason why this did not work on most of the individuals is because individuals are different. They're at different stages in their lives. They have different backgrounds. And like I said on one of my other videos about HIV, you have to treat each individual differently. As far as viruses, I can definitely point out one virus that has been totally eradicated, and that's smallpox. There may be a couple others, but I know smallpox was definitely eradicated. And this was because they really monitored that thing and the people who had it. One of the other reasons why the eradication of smallpox was successful is because they could see it. You can't see HIV. Follow me. You can't really can't really follow it. You can't really track what's going on inside a person. Smallpox is very visible. And with a virus like smallpox, they could literally see it, isolate, and they could isolate. You can't necessarily isolate HIV. This is why I stated in one, I'm not sure if you saw my previous video, but I stated in another video that people have a misunderstanding of the word cure and treatment, and people don't realize that they can have one form of HIV that is unlike the other form of HIV that they could actually catch as well. It's called a super infection. So let's say someone has a form of HIV that's being suppressed with with the medication, okay? But then you have another person with a form of HIV that is resistant to the medication. If those two people come in contact with each other, one person that has a low viral load, it's undetectable because of the medication, but another person who has an HIV resistant form of the disease, that person is able the resistant person is able to spread that resistant form of HIV to the other person who has a low viral load. That particular HIV virus that is resistant will then dominate, rendering the medication ineffective in the other person. So it's not just one form of the virus out here. There's HIV out here that is resistant to medication. And this is why people need to protect themselves whether or not they're on medication or not. Whether they're on medication or not. You should live a life of discipline, understanding that you have not been cured from the disease. It's being managed. And HIV can mutate and will mutate whenever it sees the opportunity because it wants to survive just as much as you do. So as soon as it gets the opportunity to mutate, it will. And the more people that have HIV in the world, the greater the chances of the mutations. And these mutations will render the medications ineffective. So basically, you can think of it as the virus in simple ways. I'm just saying this simply. You can think of it as the virus having its own plan of attack. So while you're attacking it with meds, it's trying to figure out, how do I get around this? How do I get around this so I can survive? So everyone can take part in trying to combat this disease by not having intercourse or having responsible intercourse and basically disciplining yourselves. But in conclusion, there is not a cure.